Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to see how to configure person security profile using generic organization hierarchy in Oracle HCM Cloud. Security profile is a configurable component in HCM which is used to secure the data. In Oracle Cloud HCM, there are quite a few different types of security profiles available as you see here. Each one of them serves its own purpose and we may need to use one or more than one among these according to our requirement. For now, our requirement for this demonstration is to secure the person data based on the organization hierarchy. So we are going to use both person security profile and organization security profile. As you can see here, this is the generic organization hierarchy we are going to use for our demonstration today. Why we are saying this as a generic organization hierarchy is because this hierarchy has got organizations of many classifications. If you see here, we have enterprise on the top node, then division, then legal employer, then business unit, and then departments. Okay, now let's get into our requirement on the data security. The requirement is to secure the HR specialist access at the business unit level. That means we are having 3 business units here and we would be having separate HR specialist for each of the business units to create and maintain the person record. If you see here, the HR specialist named MY Solar should have access to the business unit named EE Solar MY and its child organizations. Similarly, the HR specialist named IN Solar and IN Wind should have access to EE Solar IN and EE Wind Energy IN business units and its child organizations respectively. You can see the colors of HR specialist users here and match it with the organization's color to know what access they should need. Now let's focus on the access needed for the HR specialist named MY Solar. We are not securing the legal employer at all here. This would cause an impact of allowing this HR specialist to access all the legal employers while creating the new person record. In HCM Cloud, the work relationship of the person would be with the legal employer. So it is important that we take care of the security required at the legal employer level too. When it comes to MI Solar HR specialist, I am also going to add EE Energies, SD and BHT into the security scope. I am going to do the same for other BUs as well. I hope now we are pretty clear on the requirement. If you see here, we need all of these workforce structure configurations in place as a prerequisite for us to start performing the security profile related configurations. All of these have been already configured and made available in the demo environment for us to directly jump into the security profile related configurations, which are the primary focus in this video. But if you want to see how these workforce structures were configured, you can see all of those towards end of this video as a fast forwarded clips. Once we have all the prerequisites in place, as you see here, we have series of configurations to be done as a part of the solution for our requirement. The first step here is to configure the organization security profile. If you look back the requirement, we need to secure it at the business unit level. This is what the name of the security profile we are going to keep for EE Solar MI business unit. The top organization for this security profile would be EE Solar MY business unit. And we are adding the respective legal employer as well here to align with the hierarchy. Now this organization security profile would grant access to EE Solar MY business unit and its child organizations along with this legal employer. We need to repeat the same configuration for other couple of business units in India as we see here. And the next step is to configure the person security profile. Here we will create one for each business unit and we will assign the respective organization security profile we created at step 8. And the next step is to create the new HR specialist job role named EE HR specialist by copying the seeded HR specialist role. This way we make sure that we are not modifying the seeded role. The next step is to create the data role by mapping the job role we created at step 10. And the respective organization and person security profile we created at step 8 and step 9 respectively. This data role will now apply the security criteria based on the security profiles. And as a final step, we will create users and assign the respective data role we created at step 11. Now, if you look at the overall configurations mentioned here, we are actually repeating the same configurations for each BU. It is definitely required to map our actual requirement for all BUs, but for the demonstration purpose, we are going to do these configurations only for one BU, which is EE Solar MY, given the fact that similar solution applies to all other BUs as well. Once all the configurations are done, the next step what we are going to do is the testing to make sure that it fulfilled our requirement and working as expected. For testing, we will log in as MI Solar HR Specialist user and we will perform all these test cases what we are seeing it in the table. The first 3 test cases are all about querying the existing employee. These employee records are already made available. If you look at the first test case, the legal employer of this employee is EE Energies SD and BHT, and the business unit of this person is US1 business unit, and he is assigned to Human Resources Department. The MI Solar HR Specialist user should have access to this legal employer, wherein he should not be having access to this business unit and department. So the expected result is this record should not be accessible. And if you look at the next record, we have access to business unit and the department, but it is a different legal employer. The HR specialist named MI Solar should not have access to this legal employer. So this record also should not be accessible. If you look at the third record, the legal employer, business unit and department, all of these should be accessible by the MI Solar HR specialist. The expected result is this record should be accessible. And as the last test case, what we will do, we will try creating a new employee under EE Energies SD and BHT legal employer. And we need to make sure that we are not accessing any other legal employer and we are not having access to any other business unit other than EE Solar MY, and we are having access to only these 2 departments. Now we go back and perform all the security profile related configurations into the system. The first step is to create the organization security profile. Click on My Client Groups, look for workforce structures, click on that. Scroll down to Organization Security Profiles. Click on that. Click on Create icon. Enter the name of the security profile here. Select Secure by Organization Hierarchy. The tree structure should be generic organization hierarchy, because the one we have created is not a department tree, it is a generic organization hierarchy. We can select the organization hierarchy here. And I'm going to specify the top organization here. We can select EE Solar MY here. And I select include top organization to make sure that this BU is also added into the security scope. If you recollect, I earlier mentioned that we also need to add the legal employer into the security scope. To do that, scroll down, click on Secure by Organization List, click on the plus icon and add the respective legal employer. Now this security profile should grant access to EE Solar Business Unit and its child organizations along with this legal employer. Now we are completed with the organization security profile configuration. We can go up and then we can click on Save and Close. The next step is to create the person security profiles. To do that, under My Client Groups, click on Workforce Structures. Scroll down and look for person security profiles and click on that. Click on Create icon. Enter the name of the security profile here. And I'm enabling this option, include future people, just to make sure that this security profile grants access to the future dated people as well. Scroll down to Workforce Structures area. Click on Secure by Department and then select the organization security profile we have created. Repeat the same for business unit and legal employer. If you think about why we are selecting the same organization security profile at each of these levels, is because the organization hierarchy we have created is a generic organization hierarchy. It has got legal employer, business unit and also departments. This configuration makes sure that all the organization classifications are secured. We are now done with the person security profile configuration. We can scroll up and we can click on save and close. The next step is to create the custom job role by copying the seeded human resource specialist job role. To do that, click on the menu here, click on security console, search for the seeded human resources specialist job role. Click on the drop down here and click on copy role. Select copy top role and inherited role option. Click on copy role button. Modify the role name and role code. Click on next. Click on summary directly because we are not going to make any other changes. Click on submit and close. Now in the background, there is a process automatically submitted to copy the role. You can go and check that in the administration option here. Click on role copy status. If you look at the first record, this is what we have created just now, and the status is processing. That means we cannot effectively use that at the moment. We can wait for some time to get this process complete. Now the status is complete. We are done with the job role creation. The next step is to create the data role by using the job role and the security profiles you have created in the previous steps. To do that, under my client groups, click on workforce structures. Scroll down to data roles and security profiles. Click on that. Click on create icon. Enter the name of the data role here. Here, select the job role we have created in the previous step. Click on next. In this page, we have various types of security profiles, which will decide how this security profile has to work. As our requirement is to secure the person data based on the organization hierarchy, we are going to select the security profiles we have created for organization and person, and all other types we will select the seeded view all security profiles. I'm selecting EEMI org security profile we have created previously. In person security profile, I am assigning EEMI solar person profile we have created previously. In all other security profiles, I am going to select the view all seeded one. Scroll up and click on review button and then click on submit. And the final step is to create the user for Malaysia HR specialist, and we are going to assign the data role we have created in the previous step. To do that, click on this menu. Click on security console under tools. Click on users. Click on add user account. I've entered a simple username so that it will be easy for us to key in, and I'm going to add the data role that we have created in the previous step. This is the data role we have created in the previous step. Add role to membership. Click on done. Click on save and close. Now we have completed all the security profile related configurations. The next step is to go ahead and do some testing as per this table. As I mentioned earlier, the first 3 test cases you see in this table is about querying the existing employee records. These records have been already created and made available in the demo environment. So before we log in as MI Solar HR Specialist user, we will log in as a Super HR user to access all of these 3 records, and we will see all these organization information. Under My Client Groups, click on Person Management. Enter the person number. Click on the name. If you see here, this person is employed with EE Energies SD and BHT. If I scroll down to business unit and department, the business unit is US 1 business unit and the department is Human Resources US. Now we can make out that the MI Solar HR Specialist user should not access this record because the business unit and the department is not within our security scope. We can go back and bring up the next employee. If you see here, the legal employer is US 1 legal entity. If I scroll down to department and business unit, it is EE Solar MY and EESEMY operations. We can also make out that the Solar MI HR Specialist user shouldn't have access to this record as well because this employee is employed with a different legal employer. We can go back and bring up the third record. If you see here, the legal employer is EE Energies SD and BHT. Business unit is EE Solar MY and the department is EESEMY operations. If you look at this record, all the organizations are within the security scope of Solar MY HR Specialist user and he should be able to access this record. Now let us log in as Solar MY HR Specialist user. Click on Person Management. Now let's attempt to query the first record. No results found. This record is not accessible because this employee is assigned to a different business unit and department which does not come under our security scope. Let us query the next record. We did not get any result here. This record is also not accessible because this employee is employed with US 1 legal entity. And let us query the third record. We are able to access this record successfully. This record is accessible because the legal employer, business unit and the department is fallen within our security scope. Now let us go back and try creating the new employee record. To do that, click on Home. Click on New Person under My Client Groups. Click on Hire an Employee. Here in the legal employer field, what we are going to make sure is we are not accessing any other legal employer except EE Energies SD and BHT. I am doing a wildcard search here. Yes, we are getting only EE Energies SD and BHT. We are not getting any other legal employers. I am selecting that. Click on OK. I'm not entering anything for the address. Click on Next. As per our security profile criteria, in business unit field, we should not access anything other than EE Solar MY. Let us see that. Here we don't have an option to go for a wildcard search. I'm trying to bring up some familiar business unit in the demo environment. I did not get any. I'm just querying our business unit. I'm selecting that, click on OK. And I scroll down to department field. In department field also, as per the security profile criteria, we should be having 2 departments that comes under this business unit. Let us see that. We can go for a wildcard search here. Yes, we are getting only these 2 departments, which is under EE Solar MI business unit. Now we have successfully completed all these test cases and we saw it's all working fine as expected. Actually, we are done with the primary topic, which is security profile, but you can keep the video on if you want to see how the workforce structures were configured. I hope you found this content useful. Thanks for watching.